All right, let's talk about iodine. It's an element you probably think you know, right? But what if I told you it has this whole secret life? One that's, quietly powering our modern world in ways you've probably never even thought about. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this unsung hero of the periodic table.
So to get us started, I've got a little riddle for you. What could your smartphone, the thyroid gland in your neck, and a fake $100 bill possibly have in common? I know, it sounds totally random, but the answer to all three is iodine. And if you stick with me, we're going to connect all those dots.
First things first, let's start on some familiar ground. Because for most of us, when we hear the word iodine, one of two things usually pops into our heads. On the one hand, you've got that classic brown antiseptic liquid. You know, the stuff that's been in medicine cabinets forever for cleaning cuts and scrapes. And on the other hand, you have the salt shaker on your dinner table, which often says iodized. But have you ever stopped to wonder why that little word is so important? Well, that brings us to your thyroid. See, this little gland in your neck absolutely needs iodine to produce the hormones that regulate, well, your whole metabolism. If you don't get enough, your thyroid goes into overdrive and it can swell up, creating a condition called a goiter. And this is not some rare thing. We're talking about a global health issue that affects over 1 billion people. That's why adding just a tiny, inexpensive bit of iodine to table salt became one of the most successful public health moves in history. So, we've covered the health basics, but this is where the story gets really interesting. We're about to see how iodine transforms from a simple nutrient into a cornerstone of the technology that, well, powers all of our lives. That's right, the device you're probably watching this on right now, yeah, it likely wouldn't exist in its current form without iodine. It's totally essential to the screen you're looking at. So, how in the world does that work? Well, to make the polarizing filter for an LCD screen, you take a special film and stretch it out, which forces all its polymer chains to line up. Then it gets dunked into an iodine solution. The iodine molecules just sort of latch onto those chains, lining up perfectly. And what you get is basically a set of microscopic blinds that can control exactly which light waves get through to create the images you see. Pretty clever, huh? And it's not just about the screen itself. Iodine's incredible precision is also crucial for making the tiny components behind it. See, when you're manufacturing semiconductors, you have to etch these unbelievably fine patterns. And while other chemicals might leave these rough, fuzzy edges, etching with iodine compounds gives you these perfectly straight, razor-sharp lines. In the world of high-tech manufacturing, that level of precision is, well, it's everything. Okay, let's switch gears and head back to health for a minute, because iodine's role here goes way beyond just preventing goiters. We're talking about some seriously advanced, life-saving medical applications. Think about a nuclear incident like what happened at Fukushima. One of the most dangerous things released is radioactive iodine. Your thyroid, unfortunately, can't tell the difference, and it'll just soak it up, which can lead to cancer down the road. But the solution is simple, but it's ingenious. Taking a stable iodine tablet literally floods the thyroid with a good, safe kind of iodine. It fills up all the space, leaving no room for the dangerous radioactive version to get in. It's an incredibly effective shield. And believe me, the list just keeps going. Iodine-based contrast agents are what make your organs and blood vessels show up clearly on an X-ray. It's a key ingredient in certain antiviral drugs for things like eye infections. It's still the gold standard for sterilizing skin before surgery, and it's even used in advanced wound care to fight off nasty, drug-resistant bacteria. It really is a medical workhorse. All right, now for the really fun part. We've seen iodine in medicine and in our tech, but trust me, its uses get even more diverse and, frankly, surprising from here on out. Have you ever seen a cashier at a store use one of those counterfeit detector pens? Well, that's a classic chemistry trick right there in your pocket. You see, real money is printed on paper that's starch-free, but counterfeiters, they often just use regular paper, which is loaded with starch. The iodine inside the pen reacts instantly with that starch, leaving a dark, telltale mark. It's simple, it's immediate, and it's all thanks to iodine. And what about 3D printing? Well, some printers use this liquid resin that hardens when it's exposed to light. And the secret ingredient that kicks off that whole reaction? Often, it's something called an iodonium salt. It acts like a catalyst, instantly solidifying the resin, layer by tiny layer, to build up a really complex object. Now, here's one I bet you wouldn't guess. The nylon fibers that make up the airbags in your car have to withstand some incredible heat and stress when they deploy in a fraction of a second. So to make them tough enough, manufacturers add copper iodide compounds, which act as a super powerful heat stabilizer. This next discovery was so huge, it actually won a Nobel Prize. So scientists found that if you take a plastic polymer, which is normally an insulator, right, and you dope it with just a little bit of iodine, it can suddenly conduct electricity. This one discovery opened up the entire field of conductive plastics, which has massive potential for things like flexible and lightweight electronics. So, as we start to wrap this all up, it becomes pretty clear that iodine is so much more than just that brown stuff in the medicine cabinet. It's been on this incredible journey from a simple element to an essential hidden helper in basically all of our modern lives. I mean, its journey is just remarkable. It was first discovered in seaweed ash back in 1811, and less than 10 years later, it was already being used to treat goiters. By the 1940s, we were using silver iodide to literally make it rain. And today, of course, it's a completely irreplaceable piece of the technology that defines our entire world. And that really gives us the full picture, doesn't it? From humble seaweed to the advanced silicon inside a smartphone, iodine truly is one of the great unsung heroes of the periodic table, quietly and invisibly shaping our world every single day. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on. If one element, iodine, has this many surprising and critical roles, what other simple elements are out there, just hiding in plain sight, waiting for a discovery that will change everything all over again? What's going to be the next iodine?